Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching News Night. Now, the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Akim Owade, has declared that the British signed a treaty with the Alaafin, recognizing him as the superior head of the Yoruba nation. Now, this followed a fresh crisis between the Alaafin and the Ooni of Ife, Oba Enitan Ogunwusi, after the Ooni conferred the title of okanlomo of Yoruba land on a businessman, Dotun Sanusi, during the unveiling of Together media networking platform at Ilaji Hotel, Ibadan, at the weekend. Now, condemning Ooni's action on Monday.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Telecast TV. I'm Miracle Angala. You're watching a conversation about supremacy crisis between Alaafin and Ooni of Ife. Endeavor to watch to the end. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe, like, comment, and share your thoughts. Don't miss trending videos.
Alaafin had, in a statement by his director of media, Bode Durojaye, given the Ife monarch a 48-hour ultimatum to withdraw the chieftaincy title or face the consequences. Now, the Ooni has, however, kept mum on the matter, even as the ultimatum expired on Wednesday. Now, in a fresh statement by his media aide, Durojaye, on Thursday, the Alaafin went historical, asserting that he remains the foremost monarch in Yoruba land. Now, for clarity on the supremacy crisis between the Alaafin of Oyo and the Ooni of Ife, we're joined now by Ambassador Albert G.P. Omotayo, MFR. He's a custodian of Yoruba culture and tradition. He's a former Nigerian High Commissioner to the Republic of Mozambique, with current accreditation to the Republics of Madagascar and Mauritius. Also joining us is Are Oladotun Hassan, President, Yoruba Council Worldwide. Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for joining us on Newsnight. Let's begin, and let me start with Ambassador Omotayo Albert. Right. Now, this recognition, as claimed by the Alaafin Owade, he says that the United Kingdom of Britain actually recognizes the supremacy of the Alaafin as the supreme ruler of the Yoruba nation. Would you say that this may have contributed to the crisis that we have witnessed, the supremacy tussle that we've witnessed between the Alaafin and the Ooni over the years? And how much of an aberration is this? Ambassador Albert? Okay, looks like
if
Ambassador.
I hear you correctly.
Sorry? Did you hear my question? All right, let me quickly bring it to Dr. Hassan.
Yeah, please come again. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't quite hear you.
Right. Okay, while we fix that, let me start with, Dr. Hassan here. I'm sure you heard my question. I mean, yes. When the UK, according to the Alaafin of Oyo, says that the UK recognized that position, the position of Alaafin, as supreme in Yoruba land. And my question is this fundamental to the crisis over the years that the Alaafin and, the Ooni have, faced? And how much of an aberration or an anomaly, a historical one at that, is it?
Well, we have to look at the historical value and the civilization of the Yoruba history, which date back 3000 BC before Christ, and that is even before the advent of the colonial masters' incursion into the black man's race, and where we had the trade slaves and every other issues that culminated the period which Alaafin is referring to, meaning that predating that era, Ile-Ife has been in existence, and Ile-Ife has been in existence as one of the leading cities in the olden ancient era. And within 1000 to 3000 BC, Ile-Ife has been in existence. And the aura of civilization, of what we are dealing on today, is not actually conflict, but misinformation, and try to, whereby there is mischief. There are a lot of things that are affecting people's orientation in saying the truth. And to the Oyo is an extension of Ile-Ife. Oyo and every other town in Yoruba land are extension of Ile-Ife, because every prince left Ife with their crown, with the caveat of never to wage war against Ile-Ife. So meaning, however the authority of Alaafin is, he still hold Ife as the cradle and source of the Yoruba race. And these facts are unbreakable facts. So to many, what is happening today is like somebody trying to shove off the truth and embrace what will divide the Yoruba people. And we are more civilized. And I must admonish that these are no times for conflict of this nature, because from the stable of the Ooni of Ife, Ooni Adeyeye Babatunde Enitan Ogunwusi, he is a revered father. He is a spiritual head of the entire Yoruba race. By virtue of definition, we can say the Ooni is the president of Yoruba race, while Alaafin is the prime minister, because they all have concurrent duties to play for the Yoruba race. So, and there is no way without their harmony we can achieve solid peace in Yoruba land. So the conflict that just emanated, to me, is more of a figment of imagination of some few oligarchs trying to wage or use the stool of Alaafin to cause monumental crisis. And these agent provocateurs need to be called to order, because there are some voice of Esau and Jacob that are making this crisis unimaginably inflammable. So to many, the Yoruba are one. The way we came about of Oduduwa and Yoruba land, we can refer to the fact that Oduduwa being the progenitor. Oronyo is the last son, is the last grandson of Oduduwa, and he's been adventurous, most powerful. He had the stake of being of able to found Benin and Alaafin of Oyo and Oyo town, and having found that, he came back. When he came to Ife, he vacated Alaimore and become the Ooni of Ife, and he lasted there, and that is where his grave is today.
Okay. All right. There are some who would disagree with you that the Ooni is not a descendant of Oduduwa. But let me bring in Ambassador Motayo to this conversation. Ambassador, for our international audience, is it correct to compare the Ooni of Ife to the Archbishop of Canterbury? If that is true, the Archbishop of Canterbury does indeed crown the British king and the British queen, but never becomes, you know, a political leader in the United Kingdom, ever. So if that is correct, Ambassador, I hope you're following me. If that is correct, then is the Alaafin correct to say that the Ooni of Ife has overstepped in carrying out a political duty by bestowing a Yoruba wide land title to somebody?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. Comparing the Ooni of Ife to the Archbishop of Canterbury is correct up to a point. Up to the point that what happens with the Archbishop of Canterbury is in the context of British culture and tradition. But here, the Ooni of Ife is the spiritual leader of Yorubas. And that emanates from the fact that Ife is the source of the Yorubas. But the present issue appears to me to be unwarranted. Let's start from the beginning. Under normal circumstances, nobody becomes an oba without going a certain process and rituals. What happens in these rituals? Mainly, it is to inculcate in the mind of the designate how to behave. His comportment is very important. So when things deteriorate to the point that obas, Yoruba obas for that matter, are going to the press to talk unseemly to each other, it is very disgraceful, with due respect. Besides that, it is true that there was Oyo Empire. The territory of Oyo Empire spanned up to over 150. Nigeria, Togo, Benin. It's a large expanse, but that is a long time ago. The Oyo Empire ended in 18. If I'm correct, about 2 centuries ago. So for anybody to be bringing to be bringing what ended over centuries ago, as if it is currently happening, is unnecessary. Then the Alaafin and the Ooni, neither of them has political power. None of them can rule beyond his territory, beyond Ife. I can't see Ooni of Ife going to Ekiti and telling them what they have to do. Neither can Alaafin leave that place, leave where he is, leave Oyo, and go to Ibadan. Or go to Osogbo. None of them has any political power. And the immediate cause of this thing, which is the installation of the okanlomo, a chief by the Ooni of Ife. It has very little significance. Right. The significance it has is just within Ife and the Ooni. Okay. The okanlomo cannot go to Ondo and say, I am okanlomo. I want to exercise the functions of okanlomo in Ondo. Right. That's not possible.
Very important point made
more
there.
Ceremonial.
Yes. Very important point made by Ambassador
than,
Albert there. Yes. Very quickly, if we can come back to Barrister Are Dr. Hassan here in the studio, is President Yoruba Council Worldwide. I mean, very important point made there, by Ambassador Albert. What exactly is so special about this title of okanlomo that it has led to this situation now where you have the Ooni and the Alaafin facing off? And it's not the first time, like we've established, as it was with Oba Ooni Okunade, Shujuade, and of course the Alaafin Lamidi Adeyemi. So it is now with this current monarch. What's so special about it, and how can this issue really be resolved? Because Yoruba elders are now intervening.
Well, firstly, as the President Yoruba Council Worldwide, I beg to disagree that the authority of Ooni of Ife is restricted within the confines of Ife, or neither the value or stake of Alaafin is just within their domain. If that is the case, we wouldn't be having the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land. And these are historical base where we had Yoruba kingdom that was both political and spiritual. Now, because of the advent of civilization, what we should be talking about is not to condemn that rightful base in which we all Yoruba respect. It might be, these are unwritten laws. But the fact that we have the State Council of Obas and Chiefs that makes the Alaafin the chairman of Oyo State Council and the Ooni as the Osun State Council, and Ooni is the chairman of Yoruba Obas Council, is the chair of Southern Obas Forum, of traditional leaders, is also the chairman of National Council of Traditional Leaders. So, meaning you cannot restrict such powers just to say their domain. If not for their influence, if not for their courage, we need to give that guide of respect to their stool, that their respect and authority span beyond their domain. And most importantly, Ooni's authority is a global authority. That is why we call Ooni Risha. Ooni is not just the physical of an ordinary Oba. Is the Orisha that all other Obas are second in command to. By Yoruba, and when Ooni get, in history, yes, whenever Ooni is coming out in the ancient time, all Obas, including the Alaafin of Oyo, must vacate their stool, are waiting with sacrifices, with a lot of honor and value bestowed to the throne of Ooni Risha. That is to show the historical value that the Yoruba place to it. We cannot overlook the strength of both working together, and that is where the Yoruba Council Worldwide sits here today to address the need for us to convoke the Yoruba Obas Conference. We have hosted the first edition last November. We had planned to host the second edition in order to address these inimical issues, because to me, these are not the real issues that is bordering on our lives as Yoruba people. We want to discuss our unity. We want to discuss the progressive development of the nation. We want to harness the reason why we have a Yoruba man as president and what can we benefit more. These are the issues that we will believe that in the nearest coming days we will resort to a date, time, and venue, because we're already planning for it to come up in Ibadan. If not for the demise of the immediate Pastor Olubadan, we also have hosted the second edition, where we want to have the Ooni seated. We know he's the father of all Obas. We know he has the courage beyond, because just as I rightly said, Ile-Ife, Oyo is an extension of Ile-Ife, meaning it's a sui generis. Everything restricts within the same person. It's just you are talking to the head and you want to separate the arm from it. So every part of the body is important.
So you're contradicting the UK's recognition of the Alaafin as
the
supreme.
UK recognition was there in history, because during that same era, we had, I've already maybe given the introduction that Ooni is the spiritual head, overlord. Alaafin is the prime minister. He overlooked every aspect of Yoruba land in the Oyo Empire days, before democracy. And now that we now have Nigeria, we cannot be restricting back to that record of British Empire. We are now dealing with issues, and we must also note that it still behoves on the Alaafin to relate with the Ooni of Ife. Let them relate as father and son. Let everything get sorted. Let everybody live peacefully. And Alaafin still has a spiritual duty to perform in Ile-Ife, because it still needs to get to the graveyard of the Oromiyan, so that it can be given that staff of authority, which we call Oromiyan, in order to give him the finality of his authority.
They have to coexist, is what you're saying.
Definitely for peace and development of Yoruba land.
Ambassador Motayo, sometimes I wonder if this historical tug of war has to do with the folk tale around Alaafin Aole. But let me ask you, how much of this has to do with modern politics interfering in ancient tools? And how do we resolve this issue? Because they say those who forget their history are bound to repeat the same mistakes.
Well, thank you so much. But the point is that we must understand that there is a world of difference between influence and power. No Oba has power. All they have is influence. The Ooni or the Alaafin can wake up and say, I want to see the president. He has a right. He will be welcome. Once anything done, it is not like the things that previous Alaafins or Oonis used to do, that they will just give another. The meaning of Oba in Yoruba land is supreme head. And that is why the ancient obas, they could marry anybody regardless of whether the person is married or not. They would just say, okay, I put my stamp on him. This one is my wife. Nobody questions it. It is no longer so. So what is the point? What can any Oba say now when you have a local government? But the Oba has influence. Informally, he can do a lot of things, informally. But formally and legally, there is nothing any Oba can do. So we need to get that, and that is the more reason why this quarrel, why this tussle is absolutely unnecessary. If Ooni wants something in Ekiti, he could call the king, the Ewi of Ado. If he knows any of the politicians, he could call the governor, he could call anybody. But he cannot sit down on his throne and say this will happen. And I think this is what we need to.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, highly.
This is what we have to understand.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Albert Omotayo, MFR. He's saying this is much ado about nothing. Well, he's the former Nigeria's High Commissioner to the Republic of Mozambique, joining us tonight on Newsnight. And also, Are Dotun Hassan, Are Barrister Dotun Hassan is the President, Yoruba Council Worldwide. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.